Welcome back. The New York hush money trial against former President Donald Trump will not be picking back up until tomorrow, but we're still learning more about the few people selected to be part of the jury so far. 4 are men, 3 are women, and all of them live in Manhattan. Some of their professions include an oncology nurse, 2 attorneys, a teacher, and a software engineer. So we're bringing in our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, again. And so we list these professions. Is it because that has a huge impact on who's sat on a jury?
I think it does. I mean, you're attempting to weed folks out as the attorney, right? You're listening to clues. I mean, yesterday, I don't think anybody would have anticipated that social media would have played such a big impact into the types of questions, but it should have been contemplated at the very minimum, because that was all of the challenges that were levied by Trump's defense attorneys. They all were challenging past social media posts, giving you a snapshot and an insight into that. But regarding the professions, I think it plays a part into how folks think. You want someone on there that's analytical. You want someone that's logical. I'm not saying that blue-collar workers can't be on juries at all, but I am saying that it goes into the strategy. It lets you kind of get an insight of, if you want someone to be able to dissect and break down a law when it's handed to them, you're looking for those folks that have high degrees, people that can digest a lot of information that's given to them, because this is going to be boring. This is a trial about numbers, about money, about deception. Even if we remove all the gloss from the president and the porn star and all that other stuff, if you take that away, trials are not a great place to be. And so you want folks that have been in the educational setting for a while that can break it down to its dumbest form, so that they can be able to digest it in that room and come to a decision. So I don't look at that as something as that far off. You want educated people on your jury. Both sides do. Well, but in this case in particular, the 2 lawyers who are on the jury are going to have a much easier time dealing with that. And even if they're not attorneys that do criminal defense, because we got folks that are civil litigators, right? But what I would say is that if I am the defense, I'm happy that I got lawyers in there. I got people that they can go to and pick things off of, and they can kind of push people from positions. However, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm not too happy. You don't want folks like that in the room. You want, once they are delivered the law from the judge, to be able to go in that room and then be open-minded to hear, but not be pushed from their position. Because if you're pushed from your position, sometimes you may come to a decision that's not exactly what you were wanting to do. That last lawyer, Juror 7, is originally from North Carolina, so we got a little bit of home roots here with this guy that's now there as a civil litigator in New York City. But what I can say is, I think both sides got some wins. You got some females on there which could play both sides you got the former president. Some of the allegations that were held out was the Access Hollywood, where he talked about grabbing women by their genitals. But the transcripts will come in. So if you got a woman that's in there listening to that and they're reading that, that may play a part in there. So I think both sides got some of the things that they wanted and some didn't. But I mean, we only got 7 right now. We got a long way to go before we get a full jury and panel. But once we get there, these folks will be the hottest seats in the country. All eyes will be looking at them and watching, and I'll be waiting after this is over to see how many book deals and TV deals come from this, because that's a hot seat. And that does tend to happen. But we know that this whole time that Trump has said, I can't get a fair trial here in New York, and tried to have that venue moved. But New York Mayor Eric Adams was recently asked about that very same thing. So here's what he had to say about that.
Mr. Mayor, what do you say to people who say Donald Trump can't get a fair trial in New York City?
That is beyond my pay grade.
Right. So a very simple response there. What do you make of that, though? What I can tell you is that Mayor Adams is a former law enforcement officer that also has a mixed bag, kind of like our Gary McFadden, very community engaged, very community activist, but also an elected official. And so an individual like that, he's trying to play the middle. Like, listen, you would expect and anticipate, if you are sitting for a jury trial in our state, that you can get a fair trial. Because what the undertone of that is saying, because 75% of folks in this city voted for Biden, that I can't get a fair trial. I think that folks are able to set aside their biases, and that's what the judge asked them. Can you put aside your biases? What we talked about yesterday a couple times in court was that, yes, I know of Trump. Yes, I know of his past. Yes, I know of even some of the things he did in the past with the Central Park 5, taking out a full-page ad. But the guy said, who's in the box, said, I can set that aside and judge him on the facts that are presented. And that's all you want. You want an opportunity on both sides, the prosecutors and the defense, to be able to have a juror that can listen and that can put any biases they have that they bring to the table and unpack it for that day, and don't bring it into court. And the work will continue tomorrow to try to find those jurors to round out the 12 and the alternates. So Khalif, we'll check in with you then. Thank you.